Mic check, man. I look like butter, I sound like butter. You know it's the most immaculate God. I gotta say that because I'm ordained by greatness. You know what I'm saying? They say that. What they say? They said man is made in the likeness of God.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That
image.
means I'm a God. You know what I'm saying? My father told me I'm a God, so you know what? I'm a God. Y'all tuned into the world's greatest podcast. This your boy Cleus Real Talk. You're tuned in to Talk AT podcast, the world's realest conversations. Some of the realest people I know. I'm about to rebrand the whole pod soon in 2020. This is gonna be a mental health podcast. Alongside with some of the other people. I have a lot of things in 2020 in store, so it's gonna be great. But I really think this is the most therapeutic podcast for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. I got a special guest here. You know, I'm not big on introducing people. I feel like it goes against my mojo. It goes against what I stand for as a man. So I'm gonna let my special guest introduce himself.
What's going on? Schwartzen Precil here. Former professional athlete. I used to play professional basketball. Got my management degree in entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir.
Graduated a few years back. I'm a community activist, and I just came out with my first book, Be Your Own Hero.
Man, congratulations. First things first, bro. You're 25, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what it is about this 25-year-old mark, bro.
Yeah.
But then when the people hit a quarter century, I feel like they just start to work into their purpose. And it's just so different to me. Like, you know, I don't shout out to Caleb. He dropped his first book when he was 25. I started this podcast I started officially putting this podcast out when I was 25. I'm 25 right now. Started this putting it out in like August, September.
Right.
So I don't know what it is about 25, bro. I don't know if you're into numerology, but I think later on we definitely gotta look into the importance of 25, right?
Yeah.
So your name is Schwartzen.
Yeah.
And you wrote a book called Be Your Own Hero.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm from Staten Island, man. We knew each other for 10 years. You know, come on, man. It's been a long journey, but we here.
And that's what makes this so beautiful, because it's like, bro, like beautiful, but it's also kind of like a travesty in a way. Because I was like, yo, I knew this man for 10 years, and I didn't know he was going through half the shit that he was going through.
That's something. I mean, a lot of people don't know what a lot of people go through. And when you're at such a young age, you experience so much. You don't even know what to say or how to start until later on them seeds that was planted when you was a child come back later on in your relationships, and you trying to figure out, wait, what just happened?
That's real, because I was actually saying that to my mother. Shout out to my mom, CEO of Peace International Market on 3240 Richmond Terrace. Only black owned deli.
You know we support.
You know, buy black and we go give it back. But there's things that I even deal with, right? As a 25-year-old man, that I didn't realize, like things that affected me as a child, like things that I went through as a child that I can't either put away, suppress, whatever. It still affects me to this day, that I'm trying to unlearn. And I feel like that's so crazy that you said that, because it's like you don't really ever know what seeds are really planted till it's time for it to bloom.
Right, and you're trying to figure out where they came from in the first place. So. Yeah, that's a, and right now in where American culture is going, right now we need to start talking about those things, because we see where the country's going. Right, we see it step by step. It's happening.
So your real name is Schwarzenegger.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Cause I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Yeah.
Your name is different. My name is different. So I never looked at you any different. But then when I got to your book, Be Your Own Hero, I was like, wait, his mama named him Schwarzenegger? Why Schwarzenegger?
Yeah. Oh man, she was watching TV one day, man. I think it wasn't Rambo. It was I think it might have been the Terminator or something. But she named me right after the Terminator. She said every time she saw the Terminator on TV, I kicked in her belly when I was in her womb. And she said I was gonna grow up to be a strong boy. And look, I'm a strong man. I became my own hero.
So what made you want to, actually, before we even get there, because I was going to say, what made you really want to start writing a book?
Right.
You are adopted.
Yes, sir.
What is your take on the adoption system?
Whew! Listen, we need some assurance on this one, Cletus.
Shit.
Man.
I'm broke right now, but it ain't going to be for long. By the time this comes out, God willing, we will be in a greater place. So I think at that time we could be able to prepare ourselves to have these conversations more. But I was just curious. I just want to start there.
All right.
What is your take on the adoption system? What has the adoption system taught you? And what are some of the things you've learned from that experience?
Right. So you can look at it at two different point of views. Adoption could be a great avenue for families to come together and get together, where different families from opposite, cultures can come together. A lot of times you see, children from Africa, India, China, get adopted, and they come into a family and they live a great life, At the same time, some adoptions can ruin families. And with the system that I grew up in, it kind of ruined my family in a sense.
Do you think that's more of a class and race thing? Like, do you think there is some kind of racial bias and class biases within the adoption system?
Oh, no question. No question. Of course there is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things you learned through the adoption system?
Well, there was good adopted parents. There was a good foster parents. There are some, but mostly, I say about 80% of them. The 80% of them are just there for a check. They know that that children are commodities. Mm-hmm. Children are commodities. They get a check when a child is in the foster care system and they're getting paid to take care of them. We don't know where children or in the adopted system don't know where that money's going. We don't even know that it's a value in that. We don't know that we're a commodity until, people start asking questions when they get older. And that's exactly what I did.
Wow. So what made you want to write this book?
man. I think everybody got potential to write a book.
Sure.
That everyone has a story. That's what it comes down to. Everyone has a story. I don't think people are bold enough with themselves to really put it on paper, to really see that what you went through might be horrifically bad and terrible, but it also has a certain healing aspect to it. I finally got it out of my system. These are things that the enemy cannot play on. These are things that my mind can't trap me in anymore. I'm no longer mentally incarcerated because I wasn't able to express emotions. When you grow, especially as a black man, when we grow up saying real men don't cry and, getting made fun of when, you ain't get no sex yet, those things are like, where are we headed? Where are we going with that? And so what I asked myself is, where am I going with the life that I live? I mean, most people knew me as a basketball player growing up in Staten Island. And I liked it. It was cool, but it wasn't really me. It was just what the culture brought. It was what the life I was given. Mm-hmm. It was a way out from the streets when I was, a young, dumb knucklehead, just trying to fit in. That stuff was easy. If you want to do something hard, sit down with yourself, give yourself 6 months. 6 months. And you can have your book. No question. People ask me, where do you start when writing a book? You start the hard place. And that's why this book invites tough conversation. That's why it's been creating a lot of buzz. I actually run a finalist award for it recently.
Congratulations, bro.
Thank you. Yep.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. So when you were like, yo, let's get, I want to get on the pod, I was like, at that, it's crazy. It kind of came in the time like I didn't even know people really even being tuned. And by the way, thank you for your review on Apple. I seen it. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. So when you did it, I was like, okay, let's do it. And I was like, but let's send me the book, because I wanted to really know. I didn't want to come into this conversation very unprepared. And the first I read the first 64 pages. I was like, holy shit. Like nonstop either. Like I read it 64 pages. I told my mom would be late in the store. I'm reading, and my mom been really supportive about that. So I appreciate her for that. And the first concept I really wanted to ask you about is the concept of competing, and you call it the race. Mm-hmm. So at a young age, when you lived in your first foster home, you kind of gained some kind of popularity because of your physical prowess through this concept called the race, and how you was racing against all these different things, against all these different people, getting all this attention. And why did you compare life to a race at that point? Because that's what I got from it.
I'm glad you started there. Shout out to Trevette. My brother Trevette. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to my brother TJ.
Yeah.
I got stories for days about that, man.
Man, as you've seen in the comparison between the physical race, and then the race in school, where, the first kid to answer the question is pretty much the teacher's pet, the one who's smart. I didn't exceed in that area. And so when I realized my place might be outside the school building, where I just see kids running up and down, and I joined in them, and I realized I was good, Oh man, it was all she wrote. I caught that eye. I caught that, and the adrenaline kicked in, the feeling of it, and I wanted to evoke that emotion of what it was like to be someone who didn't know any better, and someone who didn't know anyone, to someone asking me my name, to someone asking me like, because in foster care you're kind of thrown around, and so when a peer recognizes you for your name and what you're able to do right, I said my name is Schwarzenegger, and I'm here like this. So the race is an aspect of you just got to find where your lane is. Trevet's lane, my older brother, we're a year apart. He stayed in his lane with academics. I stayed in mine with physical ability.
And I love that, because then it kind of trickles into this next concept that you call dominating your environment, right? Eagles versus lions. You did. Yo, you didn't think I was gonna do my homework, bro. You are on Talk Ain't Cheap podcast, bro. You know what time it is. So you have this concept called Eagles versus Lions, right? And like, the whole concept of like dominating your environment. How I think the reference was, I don't know. I don't want to say you went to Eagle Academy or something like that, but I think it really had to do with like, you could either soar the Eagles or be with the Lions, and you felt like you was with the Lions, and everyone else had their heads in the clouds with the Eagles.
Hey, it takes a certain kind of person to really catch on to that. Shout out to Cletus, man. For real. That's real talk right there.
I'm going to tell you what it was, bro. The book was super well written, bro. Granted, there was obviously little hiccups with some of like the editing. And I was going to say, next time if you need help with your editing, I would edit your book for you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Without a doubt, send it to me ahead of time. I'll edit it for you. But, bro, it was well written. Hey. Very descriptive. Anybody could catch on to this book, bro. Anybody, and there's gems for there was gems, bro. Gems, bro. You know me. I was shining, bro.
Look, I can't stop smiling right now, for real, man. Cause you know that we knew each other for so long, and we got potential in us. Like so, man, I love it.
So is that basically the concept behind like the eagle versus the lion? Everyone has the potential to like dominate in their own environments.
Right, and that just. I just use those two examples because that's who my reflection. Trevet was the opposite of me. So if I'm on the, you could be a shark, you could be, you could be a fish, you could be a dolphin, you could be, there's a book called My Secret Superpower. Like I do nothing but read now. So there's a book called My Secret Superpower, and it's a picture book. Something as simple as a picture book where, if you base your education, if a shark bases education on his ability to climb a tree, he'll spend the rest of his life thinking that it's dumb. Meanwhile, that's not where his skill set is.
It's not his purpose.
It's not where God's gift, where God gifted him at. And so God gifted me at a certain ability. You're putting me at teachers are putting me at a certain standard where I'm not good at academics. I accept that. But look, I'm great for something else. And I'm okay with that. But at a young age when, you're criticized, you're all you can hear is criticism, all you can hear is, how you can't do this or you can't do that. And so I just had to create my own, and so that's to anybody, especially now that we're creatives. We execute at a high level. Some people are still at 25, quarter life. Some people are still trying to figure out where they dominate. They're still trying to figure it out. I was blessed enough to know where I am good at, what I am good at.
And you know what? I love that, because even if you aren't good at something, at least you could be able to like align yourself with some kind of positive reinforcement of what you are good at, and then go through your process to eventually then become good at stuff. I mean, you can work towards it. It doesn't have to be like, yo, this is my God-given gift, because hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. So we know that. So it kind of like, I see that in you, that process of you refining yourself. Like basketball was where you dominate. Your physical prowess is what you dominate. And this kind of goes into what the next topic was, like defining yourself by your mistakes. I felt like throughout your book, you always fought with this like mental like torment of people around you trying to define you for what you weren't rather than what you were. So speak a little bit more about that. Like, because this is right after you because actually, this is really a great question. Do you ever look back and regret like the whole situation with you and Trevet fighting at that YMCA or that Boys and Girls Club that forced you to leave from your first foster home to go to the one that actually borderline almost destroyed you?
Right. No, not at all. So within that particular scene that I painted, I'm angry. I just got hit by a car. I lost my superpowers is what I say. My superpowers to be physically active went away. And so as an 8-year-old, that's what I'm defined as, and I can't do it no more. I lost myself. The moment I lose myself, the moment most people lose themselves, they take it out on the person that's closest to them, the person who they love the most. Trevette was the person I loved the most. And I of course, I envied him. He did something I couldn't. And then after I got hit, it was like, oh, it was all she wrote. As far as I'm going to get what I want, regardless of what he believes, regardless of what the world thinks of me. I'm going to get it. And it costed me a lot. It costed me my like you said, I was moved from one home to the next, which then was like a living hell, what I call the pit. And so during that entire like avenue, that particular moment, I don't regret it. I had to show that I was true to myself, even if I couldn't find myself. Most people define themselves of what they can't do. I knew what I was able to do at a young age. If they can't give me that, then I pretty much go crazy. I went crazy. I took it out on the person I love most, which is, we see that all the time. It's not intentional. That's just how we're wired.
So what would you say, like, to your former self at that time, if you could have, about that? Because I feel like a lot of people, even at this point, like you said, a lot of people go through it. We do it these days. Like, we take it on the people who probably care about us the most. What advice would you give someone who's in a situation like that, that is on the brink of being destructive, not to themselves, but to the people around them that they love? What advice would you be able to give them? Or what would you tell them?
Right. So it's different because I'm a director at a Boys and Girls Club now.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's up in Buffalo, New York. And the way I talk to kids now, it's a little different. It depends on your background. I relate to people with broken backgrounds, being that, well, I grew up no parents, and the family structure was totally different. So being able to recreate that now, I know what it is that I want based on what I didn't have. So I'm gonna use the example of me playing professional basketball, but I wasn't a 1,000-point scorer in high school. Everything that I wasn't back then made me everything I am now. Let me say it again. Everything that I wasn't back then made me everything I am now. I wasn't 6'10". I'm 5'11". I wasn't the leading scorer. I was a hard worker. I didn't have a tall body posture. I had a big heart. And so when you look at it as in the sense of dualism, you can look at it, okay, this is how the world sees me, but how do I see me? What is it that I can take away from this? And so the rest of the book says turning obstacles into opportunity. Now this is a gem. This is a gem right here.
Man, I like those.
Listen, I'm gonna let them know. Listen, this is how you have to look. There is a perspective that you have to take within that pain. A lot of the book has a lot to do with my pain, in which I'm able to harness the power of that pain and turn it into something positive. Now, I can't give myself credit for that. Of course, it's my Lord and Savior, Jesus, who gave me the right perspective to see it like that. Because, well, if you really dive into my book, you'll notice what happened and how I take on that mentality of forming of a supervillain. So I do become destructive, self-destructive. In fact, I'm giving away a lot of the book, but it's a lot of gems even in it. You'll see there's a moment where I run away from the foster home and I'm almost faced with jail. So really, those are the two pinnacles. Those are the two. The one where I was 8, when I went from one foster home to the next, and then when I ran away from home and I was almost kicked out of, I almost sent to juvenile detention.
And you actually had a gem, because speaking on gems, you did put a gem out there. You said the world was cruel to those who expresses themselves freely. And you know me, I that hit me in my face. I was like, damn, because we spoke about this before we got on. It's like, yo, sometimes I really feel like I get penalized for being blunt and honest, when I feel like that should be something that everyone should be free to do or say or be. And it's real. It's like you said, it's like the world was cruel to those who express themselves freely, because it's kind of like 99. It's kind of like that top 1% versus the bottom 99, right? The top 1%, they're free. They have their own issues, but they live a certain life of freedom. You know, you see like Bill Gates. He'll be at like certain places with no security, chilling. You know what I mean? Like that freedom. When everybody else expects him to be this guy with a lot of security and a lot of protection. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the world is cruel to those who just express themselves.
Right. Right.
That's true freedom.
Right.
So that was definitely something
That's greatness, Cletus. You caught that? Oh man.
Man, bro, there was mad gems, bro.
Just tell you got an eye, man. You really got an eye for greatness.
So I do have a question, right? So within the foster system, right? It goes back to foster care, right?
Yeah.
In the book, it said that you had to take certain medications.
Yeah.
And when you got to the second home, they were really like not on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, why did you have to take the medications? And did the medications really help you, or did you feel it really harmed you?
It definitely mellowed me down. I think it was like Vicodin or something like that. It was. I didn't know the name of it. I've been taking it my whole life since I was 1 to I was 8 years old, and it mellowed me down. As you see, it was so some kids are born overly active. I was one of those kids that was born overly active, not knowing who my parents were. Well, now that I know them now, I just found them 6 months ago.
Congrats.
Thank you. There is a lineage of mental illness, and so I didn't get to reflect or process the fact that I used to take medication when I was younger. But maybe it has something on the lines to do with that. Because Trevette was so mellow and so chill, and I'm so active and all over the place and spontaneous. Well, I got hit by a car. It's the reason why, that God gave me that. It gave me that ability to be active and everything. So, I don't know what the medicine was. I don't believe it helped. I did believe it suppressed me a lot, because when I didn't do it, I was able to express myself a lot more.
Because that's something I always felt like. Nowadays they're always kind of saying like, oh, these young black boys and all these young kids, they are ADHD, they have ADD, and I'm just like, if that's the case, they would have definitely done me at my age, how I was. They would have probably tried to do that to me too, and I never understood that. I feel like young black men are just young black boys automatically just so hyperactive. Right. It's just in our DNA. When you're young, you got the melanin in your skin, you outside, that energy that helps. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know why they think that, you have to be a child that sits down and follows every rule and this very type of way, and a very a conformist and stuff. No, certain kids are just not meant to be that way.
No, not
That's
at all,
not in their DNA. Everyone is not meant to be the same.
I have a child that I mentor now at the Boys and Girls Club. He is very overly active. Reminds me just of myself. All I do is, and he sometimes get in trouble, I just channel his energy in the right direction.
That's it.
Channel it. If you would, so he helps out. He's what we call a junior staff. He literally helps out. He uses that energy that he could be, potentially harming himself or harming other kids around, as far as distraction and yelling out of place. I put him on another staff. He uses his leadership ability to help us, and his channel is directed in the right energy, in the right way. Don't dim it down. Channel it in the right way.
And utilize the blessings that God has given him.
Right.
That's a blessing.
Right.
A lot of people can't be that active.
Yeah,
a lot of people can't move like that. A lot of people can't withstand those type of toils on their bodies and their energies.
Right.
You got a young king that does. He could change the world if put in the right position to win.
Right.
So that's ironic that you said that, because the next part of your book, you start to really go draw comparisons between the foster system and the jail system. As well as summer school and formal education.
Right.
So what's your take on that? Do you truly feel that the foster system is just a precursor to like the jail system? Are there a lot of similarities?
I would say certain homes are. Certain homes are. So if you compare jail as what? If you say, let's break it down. Jail is just somewhere you're incarcerated. I think everyone has their own mental prison that they need to unlock from. So even if you come from a 2-parent background, you could still say, they're oppressing me. You could still say, I personally, because I was watching black men on TV over the age of 21 who were still alive in jail, and I reflected and seen that right now it's being governed as if this is prison, the foster home I was in, that you had an authority. You had 3 meals a day. You had maybe a couple things of yard time, a couple minutes of yard time, and you was in the bed. No control, no creativity. I read a lot of books when I was younger, and you keep it that same day in and day out. And now, in context of prison, I would say that's my experience. I'm not gonna speak on everyone who went through the foster care system, and especially in New York City. But I've met other foster care children who said it was like jail. But then I've met other foster care children who said it wasn't like jail. And so I only speak for myself because I didn't have room to grow in the way I need to grow.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you spoke about summer school. That one time that you was in like a summer school, and there was like the first day, and a fight broke out, and
and I said that was the media right in front of me, like propaganda, black propaganda right in front of me. Yeah. So shout out to West Brighton. Shout out to West Brighton.
Shout out to the West, man. Shout out to Warner Bros.
I went to summer school in West Brighton, and it was rough. It was tough, and I didn't have to go. I didn't fail any classes, but I was forced to go from the foster care parents. And so the first day, I'm 9 years old. I'm just like, what's about to go down? It's nothing but 6 black kids and 8 black boys in the room. It's dark. I look outside, the sun's shining, and I see windows padded with metal bars, and it reminded me of TV. And then not even within a split second, 2 dudes just start going at it. Two kids just start going at it, from opposite gangs, from opposite sides of the street. And one of them comes up and just punches the other one. Everyone just starts backing up. The chairs just start flying, desks start flying. And the teacher tries to break it up. And my man grabs a broom, swings it, and hits the teacher.
At 9 years old.
Shout out to the West, man.
Shout out to the West, man.
Oh, man. I listen.
Shout out to the West, man. I'm not surprised.
That was one of the most traumatic things I've ever seen. And I write that specific story in there because it's like it's window padded bars. I want to leave. I just want to get out. And it's bad enough I got it bad at home, but that's why we create a life outside of our home. Like, because we want to have a safe life. I wasn't in a safe space. That was not proper for me to grow in. And so it turned me into something I really wasn't.
Yeah, because you seem like you were really comfortable in the streets in comparison to being at home. And I'm like, bro, I would feel like home is where the heart is. You should be a lot more safer there than you would want to be like in the West or in the Harbor or in certain other hoods or around Staten Island. You seem real comfortable being outside late at night, wandering rather than being inside the house.
They say not all who wander are lost.
That's real. That's real. So, what does fear mean to you?
Dang, Cletus, you hit me with that.
What?
You gonna hit me with that? Listen, read the book, y'all. Y'all gotta read the book.
Most definitely, y'all gotta read the book, man. Be your own hero. Where can people get the book if they want to get the book? By the way,
they can go on my website, heroleadershipgroup.com, or on my Instagram. I'm gonna have my link inside of the bio. My Instagram is Schwartzen, SCHWARTZEN _828. And I'll be posting it. Hopefully you maybe post the link.
Of course. So it's not an issue.
Yeah, or you could just Google my name, Schwartzen Precil. It's my first book. I will have several others coming out later on. This is just the beginning.
So what does fear mean to you?
You sure you want me to drop that in here right here, Cletus?
Let's talk about it. That's why we here. What you thought you was coming to? You said you said it yourself. You want to come pick my mind and how you was reading like 20 or something. You watched like 20 episodes and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what does fear mean to you?
Okay. Man, fear is that one thing that stops you from being you.
Explain.
Fear is that one thing that stops you from being you. So now that you're on your own team. Matter of fact, I want to use the analogy of women, of our queens.
Let's talk about these queens, man.
Come on. So at a young age, they know that there's something that's off. Something's off about the system. Like, I can't play with a truck. You want me to play with a doll? Yeah, like I can't wrestle with the fellas, but you want me to like wear a skirt. I believe our queens succeed the way that. So the fastest growing class of entrepreneurs right now are our black queens, our black women. Mm-hmm. Black women are the fastest growing because they've superseded their expectations on fear. Those who conform, so it's about non-conforming.
Okay.
You know that you're your own, like how great you are. The world needs to understand that.
Yeah.
Queens understand that. So a woman would understand the fact of, I'm great. They don't think I'm great, but I know I'm great. So what I'm going to do, regardless of what they think, is be great. I use that same thing. The fact of, so in the back of my mind, culture is telling me not to do something. Culture is telling me continue to play basketball. Don't write a book about what happened in the foster care system. Don't do that. That's what fear tells. Fear is really the voice. That voice that told me when I was 8 years old, put the bike back downstairs, son. Don't go up and enjoy yourself. But instead, that's the loud voice. That's fear. That's what 99% of people hear. That's fear. But then the small 1% is called truth. That's where I believe the voice of God takes over. Where cultivate that truth, and you'll find out what the difference between fear and truth is. And so it's pushing past that voice of fear. It's your conscious, other people telling you what not to do, what to do. You study a queen and you'll realize that they're the key to overcoming your fear.
So what does failure mean to you?
Oh man, I wish I could fail faster. Failure is the thing that we don't have a strong relationship with. In Finland, they have what they call National Day of Failure. Mm-hmm. They celebrate their failures. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he finally got the light bulb. If you really success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. You realize that, it's an aspect of failure that I need to get. That's what I tell my brother. My brother believes in the concept of walk on the backs of giants so that you don't have to fail. You learn from their mistakes. I don't believe that because I didn't have parents. There was no giant for me to walk on. So I'm going to learn it myself. If I can fail this edition, I'm going to fail probably another 20 editions before I finally get it right. It's the reason why. So failure is just part of the process. Failure means to me is one step closer to success.
You dropping them gems, bro. That's real. Okay. That's fair. So how did you deal with all the toxicity you dealt with in terms of your mental health, right? Because right now that's like the big topic. This is what everybody's really focusing on, mental health, because we really never really spoke about mental health and importance, especially within our communities. So how did you deal with it? All the toxic things that you've been through, all the traumas, all the negative experiences, the relationships, the friends. How did you deal with your mental health? Or how are you currently?
This is about to be the most transparent moment I'm going to give you, Cletus. The trauma that you see in that book, see, I had to die to myself. There's no way on earth. Aren't your parents immigrants?
Yeah.
They come from Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Did your parents speak English? When they first came? When they first came?
Oh, no.
Right. How does someone survive without speaking English in America? 50 years ago, whenever they came.
Yeah, they just have to figure it out. They do different things to find out.
Right.
Learn.
You figure it out. And it was been no way in hell I would have figured it out just by myself. This is where grace comes in. This is where the Holy Spirit, this is where my man, shout out to my man who's the 27-year-old virgin. I don't know his name. What's his name?
What's up? Caleb Vaughn, a.k.a. DJ Soap, man.
Hey, I respect him so much, man. To live in a culture, to be a black man, not giving into that temptation, some people would say that's mentally ill. That's not mentally healthy. You have all these voices. All your boys are doing it. Everybody's doing it. Like,
social media is all throwing it at you. We in a super hypersexual environment.
Right.
All the time.
So you have to call yourself a little crazy to do the exact opposite of what the world wants you to do. I dealt with my toxicity by dying to myself, by dying to the voices that oppressed me over the years, and letting Jesus come into my heart. It would have been so I went through a divorce, you know that. I was kicking it with the same girl for 10 years, on and off. That's mental illness. That's like, yo, what you doing? Queens was telling me like, yo, Schwartz, you gotta, love yourself. Even the concept of black men loving ourselves. Even that concept is
Touch on it.
It's taboo. We
Talk
don't, you know what I'm
about
saying? Like, I can say I love you because, you know, we brothers. We know what the kingdom men look like. But a lot of brothers, we know 99% of brothers, especially brothers that we grew up with, you know, don't have that same mindset, that same aspect. You got to be crazy. You people gonna call, like, they call Jeff Bezos crazy. Like, they call Malcolm X crazy. They call Dr. King crazy. They didn't like Malcolm X before he finally gave his life for the cause. I'm willing to die to myself, Cletus. I'm willing to die to myself to let Jesus take over whatever, because I know whatever I did was wrong. So I spent 6 months sleeping on a couch, homeless as a grown man. No one cares about a grown man sleeping on a couch, homeless, because you put yourself in there. That's the aspect of responsibility that most men miss. Take responsibility. You put yourself there, you can get yourself out. This is why most people don't like me. This is why I stay dolo. I love Staten Island, but at the same time, there are crabs in the bucket concepts that refer to us Staten Island men who grew up as hot boys, who grew up in certain fraternities, drifted off, came back, and we don't love each other. I am crazy because Jesus loved me enough to carry a cross for someone who might not ever get to love him back. And so I died to myself. That's why I got a new name, a new brand, a new self. I gave up basketball. People still refer to me as that. That's not who I am anymore. I'm a son of the king, the one true king. And that's why I stay with my queens.
That's real. Wow, that's real shit. So these next two topics get a little deep. You know what I mean? You don't have to answer this. You know, it's Talk Ain't Cheap podcast, you know?
Talk ain't cheap, man.
You know that there's gems in every conversation. So sexual assault and travesties in the foster care system. You don't have to go into detail. Right?
Yep.
For the most part, if y'all want to know more about what we're talking about when it comes to this topic, please go cop the book, man. Be Your Own Hero by Schwartzen Precil. Stop playing. Go get this book. When I say this is like shout out to Caleb. I love your book. But I was like, damn. I came into the store. I was like, Ma, did you know? And she's like, man. What? She's like, I wish I would have known. We could have done something.
Yeah.
Bro, that book was amazing, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
I've read your book. It's 242 pages.
Yes, sir. Yep.
I read the book in less 2 days. 2 days.
Wow.
A day and a half. I got through the first 64 pages yesterday, and then I finished it throughout the night into this morning. So, yeah, bro. How does one deal with sexual assault?
So, you know Common?
The rapper.
Right. Did you read his book?
No, I didn't.
He said, let love have the last word. Let love have the last. So Common wrote in his book how he was sexually assaulted. Not just sexually assaulted, because, you know, Charlemagne the God, he was sexually assaulted as well. Antoine Fisher, sexually assaulted. So I look at black men who went through sexual assault, and I look at what they took from it. The fact that they could speak on it means they took something that's a little bit more positive than negative. No one wants to talk about negative, especially to themselves. But think about it. Our queens have been sexually assaulted for so long. Our queens. That's why I say, I'm telling you, as fellas, if you listen to this, focus on the queens. It's like we've been focusing on ourselves way too long. Focus on. They gave me permission. They gave me permission. I didn't confine to a man that talked about my sexual assault. I didn't open up to a man. I seen a young lady at 17 years old come into my success center while I was working for a nonprofit and say she was sexually assaulted by her father for 6 years. A 17-year-old. A 17-year-old girl. That's power. That's taking the power away from the sexually assaulted. From the perpetrator. R. Kelly. He was sexually, I know he canceled and all, but the fact that he was sexually assaulted at a younger age, he acted on his. That spirit, whatever was behind that, he acted on it, and look at his life now. Common, who put it in the book, got them demons off his chest and said, that will not define me. Yeah, it was sexually assaulted. As a young black man growing up, that's something you don't talk about, especially in the black community. No one want to hear that. You think you want to hear that, but so the reason why I had to go find my parent family when I did come out with my sexual assault, let's just say it brought up seeds that were buried so down deep in other people that it tore me and my family apart, the family that I was adopted by. And so we don't talk. We can't talk because I harness a certain power through Jesus that allowed me permission to move on. They have not yet reached that point. I can't talk. We're not. So therefore, we don't see sexually assault different. 60% of traffickers in the sexual assault world are from 60% are from foster care systems. 60%. 60. From kids who grew up without parents, from kids who grew up in broken households that weren't able to have stability. Like, it's so many concepts that go behind the design, because sexual assault is designed to break you. Sexual trafficking is designed for a certain aspect of you to kill yourself. It's supposed to kill yourself in a sense of spiritual death, emotional death, psychological death. You're just a body. If I can get you from just seeing yourself as just a body, then I've got you. I don't have to worry about it. You will never talk about it, even if it happened.
And I think this will be a great place to go into that letter.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we giving too much of the book away. Are we giving too much of the book away?
Listen. They don't. I could talk about it. This will be the first time. So I've been on tour. I've been on a book tour. Like I said, I won an award for it. Only a few people has really read it from top to bottom the way you have and broke it down. And so you're the first person that asks about Dear Mr. Warden, chapter 8. And it's because, well, they shy away from those questions. The book invites tough questions, Cletus. That's why I was hoping that someone would catch that tough question. You want me to talk about it?
Man, you all talk a cheap podcast.
Hey, this get deep. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, man. Like I said, Common put his experiences in a book, got it off his chest. Boom, he moved on. He went on a podcast and talked about it. Someone asked him a question about it. What do you say? So I'm taking notes. As far as how do I get this trauma, this darkness off of my chest without actually intentionally hurting someone. Well, the person who was responsible, I'm gonna say the adult in the situation, he died. So really, I don't attack him. I put it on the man who was responsible. You're the guardian in the situation. You're supposed to know, and you're a black man. So I don't know. I didn't know too much about him, other than the fact that his last name. And so I had to go heavy on it. In fact, I watered it down. It was a lot harder to do the first time. Yeah, I watered it down. So the fact of, when you write a book, you go through it over and over. So I went through it about 50 times, and I had to water it down. It was that dark and that deep.
Before you go, have you ever thought about putting it out later on down the road?
What?
Like the original letter?
I don't know. Listen, I don't know if the world is ready for that. I'm not sure of it. So the world is I'm just trying to see, how you put out podcasts. You're trying to see who give and take. You're trying to see playing the field. We're young. We got another 10 years to build product, to build, a fan base, to build your brand. My brand is about inviting those tough conversations. What is fear? What do you have? What do you do with sexual assault? How do you go from homeless to making something of it? Those are tough questions. So as far as that, I don't know yet. I don't know if I'm going to put out the original letter because I have it. So, but if you took something out of this one, I think it's it's the right thing so far.
Even if it's the last thing you gotta do, I think you should definitely put that letter out.
Okay. Maybe I will. Right. So, the book is still young and only came out a month and a half ago.
Okay.
So, and plus I got to put out a second edition. So, Dear Mr. Warden, I tackle on oppression. I tackle on voicelessness. I tackle on the things that I knew what I needed as an 8, 9, 10, as an adolescent. J. Cole came out with the song, I ain't never did this before. No. He fronted. He fronted to a girl that, like I got that juice, like da-da-da, but he never had sex before. It's a front. We are now given permission to take off our front, to take off the mask. Like, our queens don't want to just walk around totally caked up. Like, I've had so many great conversations with our queens that is helping me develop this book, to develop my art, to develop my creativity. I don't have to front. So someone's gonna have to take the pain. Unfortunately, because I'm breaking generational curses, I had to take it. There were people in my family who were sexually assaulted for so many years that I never knew. And I had to go out and find that out. The fact that I put it in the book first, and then I found out that other people before me were, that was all God. I tackle on the mistreatment, the misguidance. It's like slavery. I tackle on slavery in a sense. Psychological slavery. Not physical slavery, the psychological aspect. So my family didn't come from slavery. I'm first generation American. You're first generation American.
I mean, yeah, I was born there, but yeah.
Right. Oh, so yeah. So I was here. So my family, everybody come from Haiti. So immigrants have a fighting spirit. We fighters, man. If we would have gave up, we should have gave up way before. We should have. Like, if you had a chance to give up, right? You've made it this far. You have a whole line of experiences of success. You gonna give up now? Now here's where you die, Schwartz. When I'm on that couch. I'm in my brother. Shout out to Trevette. I'm on my brother's couch, sleeping in 6 months. I'm saying, this is where I die. Like this is it. People gonna remember me for a great basketball player. I fell in love early. I was divorced, but that's it. Like, what legacy am I really trying to leave? And it's gonna be the legacy of healing. I put the sexual assault on a man who died because he was responsible, and he probably would never admit it because, well, he didn't know. And that's what most people. Well, I didn't know. Well, that's called ignorance. We have the internet now. Like, we have all this access to information. We can literally build a platform from nothing. Because we have access to this information now, it gives us no principle number 7. Make no excuses. I couldn't give myself the excuse that this is where I've been through all of this, and I'm just gonna sit here and die. As a black Haitian man, as a black American, as someone who wants to push the culture forward, I'm not gonna die knowing that I could make a difference in someone. Because if Common would have done that, if he would have took that to the grave, maybe I wouldn't have came out the way I did. Maybe if the young lady who's 17 and talked about her sexual assault from her father would have done that, I wouldn't have came out the way I did. So their light gave me permission to be myself, and therefore Jesus took over the rest. Mm-hmm. So what this book does, it invites people to be themselves, to be the best version of themselves. People are not gonna like the creative off rip. They're not gonna love it. In fact, they might hate it. You're supposed to get haters. That's when you know you're doing the job well done. But doing this since I played basketball since I was 14 years old. I made it to the pros. I know how many people are jealous. I know that hurts some people. It reminds them of their insecurity. Matter of fact, you wrote a tweet the other day. You can't secure the bag unless you what?
Insecure. Shout out to Wale for Lauren, man.
Come on. You can't secure the bag unless you're secure. So there's no way, if I want to be a good husband, a good man, a good person, just in general, I'm not securing myself, and therefore my truth cannot be told as authentically as it has been. And therefore I put out the truth as vividly, as raw as possible, without blaming him, but giving him some sense of responsibility. Parents under the age of if you have kids under the age of 18, that's your responsibility. Even if they've went to jail, even if they done, that's your responsibility. You're a guardian. You're the protector. You're the provider. It's a family structure that's meant to be in place for you to have these great things, these great qualities. So you can have a patient man, so you can have a righteous home. If I can't create that, there's no way I can create that if I still got them demons in me.
That's real. And you said something earlier, and it was something that actually came back to me after. You said like kids are a commodity in the foster care system, and then you kind of spoke about how your family wasn't able to find you because they changed your social security number, your birth certificate, your last name.
Facts.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I could play on that too. Yeah. So TJ got the blunt of it. I punched him real bad when I got back to Buffalo. So I was in Spain. Let me give context. I played professional basketball in Michigan, married my high school sweetheart. She left me in Spain when I went to go play over there. After that, we divorced. That's all brokenness. So I came back to Buffalo, where the only family I ever knew, because like I said, the sexual assault tore me and the adopted family apart. So I didn't have them anymore. And so TJ got the blunt of it. I punched him in the chest. I give the illustration now. I teach in schools now as a success coach. I gave the illustration of how Killmonger felt when his family left him. I gave the illustration of how his family could have done something. Even though his name was changed, even though he spoke Wakandan, even though, he had the mark of a real Wakandan, he didn't identify with where he was before. It was hard and so when he came back and real vengeful, that's why I felt revenge. I didn't know Trevette didn't know. I didn't know that because I'm like, well, it's the elephant in the room. Like, bro, I'm acting out. Like this like it's a sequence that happened. I didn't just start off being in the drug game. I didn't just start off stealing cars and all that. I started off with a fight, which the fight being suspended from school then went to me threatening school officials. My anger getting the best of me. Then I went on to rob a teacher. This is slow progression. The proof is in the pudding. Like nothing happens overnight. It happened gradually, year after year. Then I ran away from home. And then I, was almost incarcerated. So it was a process, and I had to reverse engineer that during my time in there. I can't, I do. I was upset the fact that when I found out that they changed my name, Social Security, but that came after I was an adult. I'm already mature. I'm like, okay, yeah, y'all was playing me, like for real. You was playing 9-year-old Schwartz, and I gotta let that go. I just gotta take that L. They did change my name, my Social Security, my birth certificate. Once I found all of that, that's why no one has contacted me since then. No one in that family has contacted me. I still talk to Karif and Fatima, of course. But, the adults in that situation, they have it because they knew something was up. And when they know, and I found out my truth, man, find out your truth, you'll get your power. That's why I can walk the way I do. I found out my truth. My name is Schwarzenegger Young Precil. My mama named me for the purpose of being strong. I'm named after a hero. That kind of aspect, that kind of diaspora, that kind of spirit lives within me. I have a spirit of an immigrant. So I get through all of that to say that, like, we are fighters. And everyone has, and I believe God's love is the fighting spirit that we all need, that we all can liberate ourselves and be your own hero.
A Bible filled with social rejects.
Oh, yes. Oh, what? Wait. I wrote that in the book?
Yes, sir. You talk about basically like it was a small portion of the book. It wasn't like a major theme or whatever, but it was like and I had to ask you about that. What made you want to include that? Like I think this is when you had an accountability partner while you was college, and I think that's when you spoke about it. When you were kind of, I guess, regressing backwards into all the stuff that was like when you decided to go back, with the girl that you was with, and how you was up, and then all of a sudden, by including the wrong partner in the right equation, messed up the entire problem. And when you spoke to the guy, he was very direct, blunt, and not empathetic at all about it. And when you said like, yo, like the Bible is full with a bunch of social rejects, why are you like kind of complaining? So I always wanted to know like what made you want to throw that in the book.
Take you, Cletus. You've done a lot of great things. Amazing thing. In fact, one of the podcasts, a young lady said, Cletus, a young lady would be honored to have your child. I don't know who said it, but it was one of the, and when they said that, I don't know if it registered, but for me, what I got from it was like, yeah, you're great, but like, do you know the real Cletus? Like, do you know what I've been through? Like I brought up the Facebook post of how you honored God for 3 degrees. Now you have 4. That was when you had 3. You have 4 now. The tears that you had to shed, the loneliness that you had to feel, the depression that you had to tackle on. Someone want to have it would be great if someone had a child by me. Like, you don't know the half of it. Like, you don't, like, you think you know, but you don't really know. And I get onto that, and that's why I read the Bible so vividly. Mm-hmm. Because we think we know, religion or relationship, but you don't really know till the Bible reads you. Till the Bible tells you what you're going through. Count it not strange that these things trial up against you. Count it all joy when you go through trials of various kind. The Bible then reads you. He said, above all else, guard the heart, for out of it flows the issues of life. As men, we spend so much time externally trying to secure the bag, trying to get these things in which we truly make us a man. That's what we feel like a man. The fact that someone's honored to have my child, that makes me feel good. That's pride. That's pride. The Bible is written for people like us, for a shepherd boy who was rejected, who was told he wasn't even going to be king. But then he went over to the giant and slayed him because he's been doing that his whole life. Because you've been doing this for so long, man. It's greatness with you, not because of the following that you've built, the platform that you've built. That's cool. That's great. And people are going to speak at your funeral great about it. In fact, you even mentioned Daunte. And I was trying to figure out, Cletus, you used to be a man of God. And I'm here to tell you that God wants his gift back. God wants to use you for the kingdom. I love it. You said the other day on the pod, and I studied, because I studied greatness. God allows greatness. Greatness is in the Bible. He talks about it. He tells you how it is that you need to be great. It's a how-to study guide. We're not here to be alone. We're not here because we are alone. We're here because there are other believers out there who are praying on our behalf. Clearly, I spent so much time in prayer for you. It was crazy how you accepted the fact of, let me bring you on the podcast. I didn't think you were gonna bring me on, man. You Cletus the Prince. Man,
don't do that, man. Don't do that.
You Cletus the Mocape. Listen, ladies, some ladies will be honored to have your child. And that's a platform.
That's still crazy as hell.
And you only 25. Come on, man. Listen.
Yo, you and Trevette, man, y'all are brothers. Y'all both, man.
Listen, and so when you get all that clout, when you get all of that, it's like, what does it really mean? What does it all mean? If you have someone like Daunte, who's one of the, like, a Staten Island angel, who knew how to live, who showed the example. The same thing can be said for the people who gave their lives in the Bible, including my Lord and Savior Jesus. Like, what he been through, he didn't have to go through that. Like, Daunte didn't have to be the person that he was. And you know what kind of man that man was. He didn't have to do that.
You right.
Now it's cool to kind of be self-care. Now it's cool to be, respected. And but back then, those seeds that was planted at 15 years old, when we was trying to be, with the girls and hot boys and,
Shout out to hot boys, man.
Well, that was cool. But those are the seeds that we're living for now. Those are the seeds that I'm uprooting now to become a king. Like, I'm a king, not because of how I rule, but because Jesus says I'm a king. I'm a child of the one true king. It makes me a king. The fact that everything else, these are fruits of my labor, that's going to come. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. All these things shall be established. All I had to do was go to the Bible, see what these people been through, see what Joseph been through, see what Abraham been through, see what this, and I'm not a Bible scholar. I just know that if I'm in a lonely place, I know where to go to. I know to go to God, regardless of what anybody. Being divorced in 25 is one of the hardest things you can. I think that's, out of all the trauma I've been through, that was one of the worst. That's why I spent 6 months to get back on my feet. But then when I went to the Bible and seen that so many people had been through that same thing, when David was screaming out to God after he slept with Bathsheba and set someone up, he set my man up to get killed. You supposed to be a king? You're supposed to be a king, and you're doing childish things like that. And God forgave him. God forget, he just cried out, created me a clean heart, O Lord.
And renew a right spirit within
Amen.
me.
Come on. God want his people back, baby. God want his people back. Hey, that's me. Hey. Come on, somebody. Hey, man.
When you have your church, you already don't come. You and Caleb, I said it. Y'all think I'll play. I said, well, you and Caleb. Now I'm adding you to the mix. When you and Caleb got your church, y'all know where I'm gonna be on Sundays, man.
That's what it's about, man. Listen, I love Staten Island, but you know, you're setting a platform for us brothers, young brothers, who can actually do something well, man. For real. Like I'm trying to catch up. I know what greatness looks like. I know what I can, like, more than just physically see. I got my spiritual eyes now. I was dead and now I'm alive. Like, I can see it. And you're doing something great. I compare you to Jeff Bezos. It's the reason why I do. Man, hey, if you ever come to Cletus's domain, man, it is the exact. Let's get it. It is exact. It's a beautiful masterpiece, but you can only see it with your spiritual eyes. I'll tell you right there. That's a mic drop. That's a gem. You can only see it with your spiritual eyes.
I want to say this to the world, to you. I'm so happy for you. I'm not even happy. I'm overjoyed for you. Because you know what? You're right. I'm happy. Like, bro, like, everything that's coming your way, the fruits of all your labor, you deserve it and more, bro. Like, when I said I had to call your brother yesterday, I got to page like 64. And I called your brother. I'm like, yo. He's like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, bro, did you know this was going on? Because to me, if I felt like if we all would have known, we would have tried. So, bro, you know, I would have had, bro, Daunte slept in my house for like 3 days. We had a sleepover, like, Timmy Pace was up here. Daunte, we all upstairs 2 floors up, bro, just sleeping, bro. Like, Zay slept here, Phil slept, like, bro, like, if I would have known, bro. That's why when I took it, but I love this book, bro. This was by far, this book was my, like, bro, God bless you, bro. Because I know everything that's going to come from this book, bro. One way or another, bro, it's gonna change the world, bro. And I'm not just saying that for my help. I'm not saying that, bro. Like, bro, 2 days, 242 pages.
Wow.
And I know you, so it's like, damn,
right.
bro. I appreciate all the kind words, because honestly, one thing I am dealing with is learning how to take compliments. I still to this day cannot do it because I don't see it.
Right.
I don't see it. That's why I ask some people sometimes. That's why I ask, like you say, your favorite episode was What is a Queen? Shout out to Kendall. I asked her. I want to see, what do you see me as? How do you see me?
Right.
Because I know how I see me. And it's like, yo, as a young, like you said, as a young black boy, we all go through things, bro. And it's and one thing I always say when I have my kids, a lot of things will be explained for them. I'm going to explain it all. It's not gonna be in the due time. I'm gonna explain it to them because I felt like that's what it is. Like, especially like being an immigrant, like you said, you were disconnected from the root,
right?
And then the now root that it's kind of like you have a seed. They cut the whole tree, the stem, the limbs, everything, but the seed is still there. Right. But all of a sudden, they take whatever fruit they have and they judge the rest of the seed by the fruit that they just cut. Not knowing if they would have been a little more patient and actually watered the plant, put it in the right positions for it to grow the right conditions, the fruit will be. It's like having a bitter grape versus a sweet one. If you would have waited a little longer. That's crazy, bro. Like when I said it, I didn't know that this is how you was coming. But I'm happy for you, bro. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for Trevette. Trevette, man, you already know. Like, you too, man, bro. Trevette, man, bro. Y'all gonna be so great, bro. And y'all already are great as well, bro. Like, the same thing you see in me, I see in you. I didn't, like I said, bro, you see how I'm living. I just think this is really just, I'm just putting in my 10,000 hours, bro. So all those kind of words, I really appreciate it, bro.
And that's why it's important to have community, because if once you're a have, like, so I read this book, it talks about the have and the have-nots. Once you're a have, you have to have a community of haves. And now I'm speaking in parables because you just spoke in parables, so they gotta catch this. Once you're a have, once you're on that side, like once you're on that side, you have to have believers and people who's gonna strengthen you up so that you can continue to keep going. Because we have 10,000 thoughts a day. They say 9,000 of them are negative. They say 9,000 without even your conscious playing a part in it. So you have to catch at least, and that's why you can't receive that. That's why I couldn't receive it. I couldn't receive that I was a great person. And like, dang, I'm sleeping on the couch. I got a great legacy and all that, but it's because the world is negative. It says the God of this world blinds the people of this age. Like, his thoughts are in the air. Like, yo, you can't go through this journey alone. You have to have community empowerments. When you come out with something great, you got to have that phone call. Like, yo, you just dropped such and such, and yo, that's amazing, fam. Hey, King, I'm about to drop this. Hey, King, yo, I beat you to it. That's healthy competition. Not when you go up to somebody and they be like,
oh, you get girls, but
right,
corny. His girls is ugly as hell.
We know what time. Right. We got more of those. It's more of those out there.
Yeah.
Right. It's more of those out there than it is people be like, hey, king. Like, and you say king to rule it in your spirit. You got it in your spirit. And that's how you act. Even if you're not a king, you'll speak yourself, like the Bible talks about, speak those things over yourself as though they were. As man thinketh, so he shall be. You don't have to think like that. I'm gonna help you think like that. Like I said, I've been in the secret place praying for you for these moments, so that when you refer back to it and when God elevates you to that stage, you don't forget where you come from. You don't forget those moments where you was locked down in that depression, lonely, the things that men don't talk about, the things that queens do talk about, the difference between a man of God and a queen of God, and that separates fear. If I want to separate the fear is the difference between the have and the have not. It's right over that fear. Our queens have got it. That's why we honor them. That's why I honor them. That's why I have no problem submitting to a queen as she's going to submit to me one day. As a man, I am going to have to submit to that. The Holy Spirit within me is going to unction that. I'm preparing myself. I'm enjoying my season of singleness. You know what I'm saying? I'm enjoying it.
Hashtag put it on the shirt. I'm enjoying my season of single. Oh, Shadaniah! Don't let me get in my bag. Cause when I'm in my bag, I can't lose.
I'm enjoying it.
Man.
Okay.
I love you, brother.
Yeah, I love you too, brother.
I'm so happy about this. I really am. This is really, bro, I'm so happy, bro.
Yeah.
You don't even understand. Be your own hero.
Yes, sir.
Out for about a month and a half now, you said.
Yeah. Got a finalist on the AmericanBookFest.com.
Fire.
Finalist, yeah. Come on now, a black boy from Staten Island, grew up in the foster care.
And I'm assuming you did all the editing for the most part by yourself, right?
No, I actually paid the publishing team, man. We're not gonna shout them out because we got beef.
Oh yeah.
We got beef. Don't go through it.
Yeah.
But I learned from failure. This is why now I got a nugget. I'll pay $2,500 just for that nugget. That's
Next
a nugget.
time, send it to me, my boy.
Yeah.
I got you. I'll go through that thing
Hey.
for you, man. Final copy things. I would have went through that. You see, I got through that joint in 2 days.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah,
But bro, this was a phenomenal book, bro. That's one of them books that has to be in that rich dad, poor dad conversation. Bro. It has to. Bro, like I think Rich Dad Poor Dad is a cool book.
Yeah.
I read the subtle art of not giving. They're cool books,
right.
But this right there, bro,
Right.
that's life changing.
Yeah. Thank you. It is, yeah.
2 days, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. They gotta catch it though, you know.
People always wait till the last minute to get on board.
Yeah, that's
bro.
true. That's
just
true.
what it is, bro.
That's
like,
true. It's gonna catch fire. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to hit on?
Man,
I know you sent me the link about the black billionaires.
Oh man, yeah. All right, let me ask you a question right quick.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to like this. How many black men were in there? Well, they were all black, right?
Yeah, they were all black. Mostly were African. Zolito Deng. Most of them are African.
Right. Who is the number one richest black person in the world?
Alito Dengati from Nigeria.
Okay, you knew who that was?
Of course.
Oh, see, yeah. Okay.
He got like a little loan from like I think his uncle, his dad, or whatever. But he basically was a Byron. He's a oil, cement, sugar Byron,
okay.
and he just been able to because you got to think about basically why he became so successful is that he got in early before they started to really industrialize Nigeria. So when you think about building, right, you need cement, you need bricks. You think about sweets and candies, you need sugar. It's kind of like it goes back to what we're saying, getting back to the roots. Like, where's the cornerstone of everything?
Right.
He found that early.
Right.
Like for you, like I definitely see eventually you getting your own publishing company.
Yeah.
You having your own workshops on how to write books and all these different things. Why? Because those are the cornerstones. It's not about the finished product. The finished product, you could be able to sell that. Like the MacBook is dope, right? You could sell it for $2,000-$3,000. But before the MacBook was the MacBook, they had the other little computers, or they have these little pieces within the computer that people have to buy too. If I sell 1 million of those little pieces, that's going to equate to what it may take for somebody to sell 1 million MacBooks.
Right.
You know what I mean? So people, like, he was one of the people that figured out the beginning of it all was the cornerstone. What is the foundation?
I didn't know who that was.
He's dope.
Because I ain't Nigerian.
Him, the other guy, Odeyemi, something like that.
Yeah.
His other friend, that's his friend as well. That's one of his bros.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did like telecommunications as well as having sugar and all that stuff as well.
Right.
There's a lot of money in this world, bro. But America's entertainment. If you haven't noticed, it was really mostly entertainment. And 2 were tech. It was not 2. 1 was tech, and 1 was like the hedge fund guy. My guy from Vista Equities,
right.
Robert Green.
Right.
Robert Green. I know his name too. We were supposed to link with him. But yeah, bro. Yeah. Like he's HBCU alum too.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, bro.
Yeah. What we're talking about is Forbes just came out with a list of black billionaires. Mm-hmm. But did you see how many billionaires are in the world?
Oh, 2,153 or 73?
Yeah. And did you see that there were only a certain amount of black billionaires?
Just said 14 of them.
Right. Did you? Okay, so I'm a numbers guy, so shout out to God for blessing me with the gift of numbers. I did a calculation. Did you see how many women there were?
It was they didn't throw Beyonce in there. They kind of joined them. It was Oprah. It was Fola Shun.
Okay.
There was like 3, right? It was like 3.
Right.
It was like 3.
Ooh.
It was 3.
You got a good eye, man, for real. So I sent that to 3 people, and none of them knew how many black queens there were. They didn't know because, well, sometimes our privilege can blind us. You know, as male, being a privilege, we don't pay attention to what our black queens actually go through. But when you, like I said, pay attention to them, you'll see how our privilege blinds us. So yes, there were 3, and Oprah was one of them.
Yeah.
And she was actually in top 5.
Yeah.
That was but so everybody who was on that list were born like in our, like, they didn't inherit it, is what I'm trying to say. Nobody on that list inherited their wealth, and they're billionaires. They have the same amount of hours. They have the same amount of hours in a week. They have 168 hours in a week. You have 168 hours in a week. I have 168 hours in a week. The way you accumulate wealth, for those who still listening, take this note down. There's a correlation between the time that you spend and the amount of wealth that you build. And I'm not talking about money. There is an accumulation of the hours in a day and the wealth that you obtain. That's the correlation. Your relationship with time. This is the poverty mindset. And your guy hit it on it, and he talked about the mindset. That's why I wish he would have went deeper when I commented on that. The mindset. We have a poverty mindset, in the hood, in poverty and things. Once you liberate yourself, you now have to acquire the relationship with time. That's what Oprah did. That's what Jay-Z did. That's the key right there. The relationship with time, knowing that everyone has different amounts of money, but we all have 24 hours in a day, 168 hours in a week, 8,400 and something hours in a year.
And I know you probably got that at a young age sitting on them steps.
I did. Hey, you see that, right? Yeah, I did. Because I was like, yo, I spend a lot of time here. What am I going to do? Yeah, I was on punishment so much. I just started fiddling with the hours. And I'm like, okay, if I calculate, yep. So it's like 8,725 hours in a year. I spent 8,100 hours sitting on a staircase in a foster care home over a course of 3 years. Now, that doesn't include sleeping, and that doesn't include the time I went to school, right? Mm-hmm. So the time we say we sleep 8 hours a day, that's 8 divided by 24 is 1/3. Yeah, 1/3. That means you slipped away 1/3 of your life. That same amount of time that's why I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, man. Mm-hmm. Oh man, listen, that's it right there, man. Look.
You're right. You're definitely right. Cause I be sleeping a lot more these days.
Come on, and it's because you're tired, man. We 25, man. We supposed to have the most energy now.
We tired, and I think also sometimes the dreams just feel better. The dreams feel better than actual reality of what the dreams could become. You kind of dream the blueprint. You live out the blueprint. Right. As for me anyway, I dream to live out my blueprints until I make them come to fruition. Like I tell my mom all the time, like, yo, I see things in my dreams. Like I see things happening before they happen in my dreams. Yeah. So it's kind of like for me, I sleep a lot because 1, I don't like to make bad decisions, and I feel like you make a lot of bad decisions when you're tired. 2, there's comfort in my sleep. That's when I'm at peace. 3, I see a lot of things in my dreams.
Oh, okay.
So for me, And even I don't even think that's all the way right. I still want to adjust that because I don't take time to go to the gym. And I've always in my head I'm like, yo, I see an image of myself at this top elite level, fit, sharp, and tuned. Still, if I wanted to party, drink, whatever I could, but disciplined enough to know when and how, within what range I could do it. Maximizing my life, like you said.
Maximize your time, right.
And being able to have my mom free up her time. How do you do that?
Right.
Someone has to take on that responsibility.
Right.
And that in itself is something, you have to really want to do. Right. It's not something that it's something that you really want to do. It's really as simple as that. Like, who wants to be in a store for like 16 hours a day?
Right. But so that's where you have to change your relationship with pain. You have to fall in love with the process. I fell in love with the process. And therefore, the habit itself took. If you don't love, well, of course you love it. That's your why. You love going to help your mom. You don't like necessarily being in the store. You love. You could correct me if I'm wrong. You love supporting that your mom. That there's black excellence going on, and that's something you can give your time to.
That's real.
Okay, I just wanted to make ensure that. And so you're not thinking about, okay, I got to go to work. That's what, okay, that could be a segue.
We could do part two. We could do part two.
But that's why, stick to your why. You know your values. Most men don't. People are wayward. You know yours. You know you're doing it for a better future. You're going to enjoy those fruits of the labor. You have the farmer's spirit. You have patience. You use the analogy in the parable of the seed. Many people don't get that. Well, many people don't get that. That's that godly wisdom right there. That's what God want his gift back, brother.
Y'all know the face. Y'all know the name. Brother, if they want to find you, where can they go find you? If they want to get your book, where they can go get your book, bro?
Okay, yep. Well, first of all, you can find me on Twitter at Schwartzen_828.
How you spell the Schwartzen? A lot of people can't spell like that.
Right. SCHWARTZEN _828. As well as Instagram, Schwartzen_828. You can follow me on Facebook, Schwartzen Precil, Precil. As well as the book, you can get it on my website, Hero Leadership Group. It's a young community activist group that allows me to go into schools and empower low opportunity communities.
I love it. I'm all for it, and I'm definitely gonna connect you with some of my other people. I got an organization that we're building called Bros.
Okay.
Brothers Rising Over Stigmas. Gonna be very fire. You got obviously Clea's group. I'm about to bring back the Clea Small Bay Scholarship Foundation. Have to do that. And there's a lot of opportunity. And I know what before I we end the episode, I want to shout out a lot of these organizations out there, young people. I see like at 44, shout out to Damo, AB, and all them, their program. Holy Mo, like you referenced in your book. Shout out to my bro Holy.
Yep.
You know what he got going on.
Holy Mo, yeah.
Shout out to my bro Marcus and all of the brothers over there in Cali doing what they work. Shout out to brother Salih with the ABC African Black Coalition Conference in Cali. Will be there in January. There's a lot of people, World and Vision, shout out to Nick and Marlon with what they got going on. I see a lot of people doing great work. Butterfly Academy out of North Carolina A&T. A lot of people doing great things, man. Keep applying the pressure. I wish everyone the best. Thank you again for coming, bro. I know you was a long drive to get here. And
thank you for having me, brother. Yeah, it's for real, man.
Be your own hero. Out now. Go get that book. Y'all know the face. Y'all know the name. Thank you for all the support. Follow the brand at Talk Ain't Cheap Network on Instagram. And like I said, you're tuning to Talk Ain't Cheap. And it's usually not that deep. It's a vibe.